Hello Libra, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for April for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for. Please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in much greater detail all the ins and outs, particularly relevant to your sign. Now, the sign of Libra is governed by Venus, and Venus is going to be switching signs this month, but the great news is that she's going to be arriving in your sister air sign of Gemini on the 11th. Now, Venus loves being in Gemini, particularly very appreciative of the arts, of reading, of communication. But also, at the start of this month, Venus is in a more tense conjunction with Uranus, the planet of surprises. So we need to check that out. But of course, relating is something that you have a passion for. And once a year, we have the Libra Full Moon. It's almost like checking out where you're up to in your closest ties at that particular point. And this year it occurs on the 6th of this month. But I feel that this is going to be a full moon that has some potential benefits, because Jupiter, the planet of growth, bountifulness and even luck, is very close to the position of the Sun opposite your moon. So I can't wait to explore that with you. We also have a solar eclipse on the 20th, and Mars, the planet of passion, is giving you a lot of support around your ambitions this month. That's another thing to share with you too. If you are a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. But if you are new here, thanks for joining us. This is very much a community. Please share your thoughts. I interact with every comment, and also like and subscribe. Now, if you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you a life roadmap report which can really help you to understand some of the patterns that have played out throughout your life and get a much more intimate understanding, the more challenging ones, but also the ones that present opportunities. Understanding those patterns is a lot to do with how we can take more control of our lives. And in my special package, you can also get your 12-month personal forecast, and there's 30% off. If you don't know your time, I have designed a new set of charts which can work with that. We don't use the ascendant, and we use whole sign astrology, but based on the Sun. And this will help you to reflect in my videos in a very, very positive way. Again, there's 30% off if you have the analysis and the forecast. Please see below for more on that too. So Libra, as April begins, so the Sun, Mercury and Jupiter are all in house 7. So this is where we come into contact with others. It can be where we set our boundaries. It can be where we charm people. It's where we're trying to find the midpoint between our needs, but also in some way accommodating, meeting the needs of others. But as we do come into this month, your ruler Venus is in a much deeper, more passionate location, the 8th house, and is in a tense tie with Uranus. But this tension can be very productive. It could help you to think about a long-term financial matter in a fresh way. It's also possible that you could have a sudden but very electric connection to someone which goes beyond the superficial pleasantries. It really could make your pulse race. But on the 3rd, Mercury moves out of your opposite sign and joins up with Venus in the sign of Taurus, along with Uranus, of course. Now, Mercury moving into this area is really interesting. It's asking you not to be so mindful about what people are telling you, but more concerned with what they really mean, so the subtext. But also Mercury in the 8th house is brilliant to dive deep and explore any subject. If you're someone who loves those murder mystery series on the telly, or reading books of a similar sort of genre, those things could really engage you. But equally it could be more about things to do with life and death. If you're someone who really wants to make more of your resources, Understanding how pensions work for you, investments and property could be another area that you grapple with. But almost immediately, Mercury forges a shuddering right angle to Pluto in your sister air sign of Aquarius. If there is a sense that your creativity is not rewarded financially, some frustration could show at this part of the month, but try to stay cool, because the first week of April sees Mars in a very dominant and heightened location in your chart, in a very stable link with Saturn, the planet of structure, in your sector of work. If you want to make a big step up around earning or be more ambitious around your goals and ambitions, this combination will help you to have the willpower but also the patience to make it all come together just in the right way. But that brings us to the full moon. So Jupiter's very close to the Sun at this point of the month, but by the 11th they're in exact conjunction. So as we see it from the Earth, they're side by side. And the benefits of the Sun, which of course is the heart of all our beings, magnifies the giant positivity of Jupiter itself. So it's probably the luckiest of all aspects, occurs from the 6th through to the 11th, but exact on the 11th. What's not to like? And this can be particularly helpful around a relationship if you meet somebody new, or around a business association. It's just that from the 7th, Mercury starts to slow down. This is its pre-retrograde shadow. But on the 11th, Venus moves into your 9th house, and this is a great location to really try and understand the truth of any association. But if you are travelling, the transition through Gemini could be really lovely, because it could give you an appreciation of local history and art and culture, or just really enjoying yourself to the max with your friends and getting some sunshine. But at this point, Venus links very productively to Pluto, and that's going to help us all to understand the depth of feeling that we have around the key relationships in our life. But from the 16th through to the 24th, Mercury aligns with Uranus. This could be a period of opportunity or a period of stress, or perhaps a bit of both. It just depends on your unique situation. The 8th house is where we're most invested, but Uranus likes freedom, and it also can be very truthful. The 8th house is very psychological. There could be a very direct conversation that takes place across those days that could be a bit uncomfortable for you to deliver or for you to hear. But try to go with it whichever way it plays out for you, because I feel that Uranus can be good if we enable it to have its voice. But on the 20th, you have the second new moon of this year in your sector of relating. How exciting is that? It's just this one is a solar eclipse. The first one happened on the 21st of March. Now, this rare event means that your hopes around relationships, and Jupiter's still pretty close to the Sun, are expanded, but they are also both challenged by Pluto. How come? Well, it's because they're right in the last minutes of the sign of Aries, the anaretic point, so they're not quite in Taurus, which of course is house 8. So that's why they're squaring Pluto, whereas Venus obviously forged that beautiful trine. So this is a point that suggests that over the next 6 months, if there is something or someone you want to work with, it is going to be important that you feel recognised and also rewarded for any investment you put in. Later on the 20th, the Sun moves into the sign of Taurus, joining up with Mercury and Uranus. But on the 21st, Mercury goes fully retrograde. When it comes to anything to do with litigation, conveyancing, insurance policies, pensions, payouts, dividends, legacies, business matters, Mercury retrograde may require you to look at these areas with a great deal of scrutiny. But of course, Mercury retrograde can also be a time to rethink, recalibrate and rejig something that isn't quite working. So if you feel you can sweat more from your resources, however much you've got, this is a fine time to analyse things. Now, as the last week dawns of this month, there's two fabulous influences. Mars is in a great link with Uranus, the Sun in a great link with Saturn. Now, obviously, Uranus can be a restless vibe, but I think Mars is provoking Uranus to be more outspoken, and it could be that something to do with a job maybe can come about by you being daring, but at the same time, even if you are daring, it could turn out to actually be something that ultimately gives you a lot of longer term stability. So it does, of course, depend on your exact situation, but I feel that this is a month where there are gorgeous opportunities to connect in a very special way, in all sorts of ways and with all sorts of people, but then you're going to find out who you can really connect with at a much deeper level. So it will go in stages. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Libra. Please like, comment or subscribe.